Good afternoon, Boomers. Brian Tong here from Boomerlife.net. And today we're talking about if you get bumped off a flight this travel season, make it worth your while. There are two situations that passengers might find themselves in, and their rights and bargaining power vary greatly between them. In the first, an airline forces a passenger off a flight for lack of space, called bumping. Under federal rules, the passenger is entitled to cash compensation, not just a voucher, and a seat on a later flight. Bumped passengers whose travel is delayed for at least an hour are entitled to up to $1,350 in compensation. If it's less than an hour, it's half of that, with the amount based on the length of the delay and the one-way price of the ticket. Travelers get bumped from flights because airlines sell more tickets than they have seats on the plane. That's called overbooking, and it sounds like a scam, but there's no law against it. Airlines assume, through long experience, that some harried last minute business travelers or families who misjudge traffic on the way to the airport just won't show up for their planes. And airlines want their planes to be full. So, with every flight, they bet on the number of no shows. When those bets go awry, it's time to bump. The vast majority of Americans take one airline trip a year. And since vouchers are usually valid for just 1 year, most people should ask for cash. Frequent flyers might want to negotiate to see how high an airline will go with a voucher. Some people have gotten as much as $10,000 in vouchers. Alaska Air and Southwest are the best airlines for paying generously in that situation. The second situation occurs when the airline has not yet kicked anyone off an overbooked flight, but instead looks for people to take a later flight in exchange for compensation, usually another voucher. The airline is not legally required to pay cash to volunteers. When an airline knows a flight is overbooked, they will make lowball offers to customers at the ticket counter, kiosk, or gate areas. They'll raise the amount of the vouchers until they find a taker, pitting passengers against each other in some kind of a reverse auction. Besides being the most frequent to offer compensation to volunteers, Delta is often generous in what it gives, doling out vouchers and gift cards, sometimes valued as high as $800 that can be used anywhere. Delta occasionally engages in reverse auction bids at the gate, too. Least likely to pay volunteers are JetBlue and Hawaiian Air. But that has less to do with stinginess than those airlines' tendency not to overbook flights. Most likely to bump passengers are regional airlines, which have smaller aircraft and therefore fuller flights. Last year, 14.7 out of every 10,000 passengers on those carriers volunteered their seats in exchange for compensation. Travel experts suspect that airlines prefer vouchers partially because high percentages of them never get used. It's kind of like gyms. They make all their money on selling memberships to people that don't come after the first month. Airlines have gotten very good at buying off passengers on overbooked flights. Last year, about 23,000 passengers were forcibly bumped, the lowest rate since the federal government started keeping track in 1995. While nearly 342,000 people volunteered to give up their seat. Airlines can legally oversell flights, so some, like JetBlue, say they don't on the assumption that some people won't show up. Overbooking can also occur when bad weather or mechanical breakdown causes flights to be canceled, forcing the airline to scramble to accommodate stranded passengers. Sometimes airlines switch a flight to a smaller plane with fewer seats. Occasionally, they need to make room for an air marshal or employees. An airline may cancel flights or limit seating on smaller planes in hot weather because thinner air makes it harder to generate enough lift for takeoff. If you take a voucher for getting off a flight, there's some rules you should know. For instance, most airlines won't replace lost vouchers and they can't be sold, although Delta allows them to be transferred to someone flying on the same reservation as the person who got the voucher. On Southwest, vouchers can only be applied to airfare, while American also lets them cover taxes and fees, and Delta vouchers can be applied to government taxes. But you can't use vouchers to purchase extra leg room or an in-flight meal. If your airline looks for vouchers to get off an overcrowded flight, experts offer this advice before accepting. Insist on a confirmed seat, not standby, on the next available flight, in addition to the voucher for future travel. If you'll be stuck for an extended time, ask for a meal or hotel vouchers too. Ask when travel vouchers expire. Typically, they're good for 1 year and whether it can be combined with other discounts. Find out if the voucher can be used on other airlines. American and Delta vouchers can be used on some partner airlines. United and Southwest certificates cannot. No matter what, don't get stressed out. Look at it as an opportunity for a nice little payday. Major airline guidelines on vouchers. You can go to these links I put down below. It'll take you to each one for American, Delta, United, Southwest, and DOT to get more information. And that's it for today. Boomers, have a great day. Stay away from the COVID, although I just got it and it was no big deal. And I'll see you on the flip. Brian Tong, Boomer Life out.